Okay, abusia ba makwa ba shonko so edeba POG Media so abusia yembonra yensemu Kevin Taylor a make post bi na the post na wa make no NHS ya project ede ato ye screen no enchen ede amamono na den na ewo post no say I heard this evening she has actually started packing out of the office and her house. It is finished. Na ebusia hwan ena o kana asem no Chief Justice Torkornoo asisiano yede abremo say echese right now no John Dramani Mahama a suspending no every no officer and also no Kevin Taylor edi ababeto say yasha say apake ne nyoma sisiano wa capture edi ababeto wa enye asem keto crisis ano Chief Justice Torkornoo a start pake every ni fee baby a ote ene echese officer enye asem keto client no and only breaking news a ewo ho a yenso yede ebremo na Lawyer Martin Pebu, Chief Justice remover no wa make analysis be ewo TV tra and also no yede honsem kakra elebrema abusua yensem mremo yanko na yenkonko ti ensema ekos na ansa na ebekono o ensem kan bi afahye ye comment section nemu like na share ma for so ensa into me enkebi aha POG Media so political trending stories are make waves in here so yaje atum say
Minority Leader Alexander King addressing the press earlier today, and then you also had the legal counsel for the minority in Parliament, John Dakon, the Swami Member of Parliament, also addressing the media at that emergency minority press conference. Now, what exactly are the fundamental issues? Well, they reference Article 146(10)(a) of the 1992 Constitution. Dennis Poberi Wadam Esquire is going to be joining me in a bit. We'll run through what exactly the provision of the Constitution is in that particular article that they reference, reason why they say that they are aware of this decision, an impending decision to suspend the Chief Justice and then eventually remove her. That's according to the minority addressing the press earlier today. Well, there is a latest poll as well that was conducted by Global Info Analytics, and the details of the poll point to a certain direction. Also regarding this subject of the removal of the Chief Justice and the 3 petitions against her. We're going to get into it in a bit because that also tells a story, and then we'll get into the constitutional provision. Martin People is going to be joining us as well as a private legal practitioner. And Musa Dankwa is Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, is Head of Research, is joining us right now on Zoom. Musa Dankwa, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, there's a poll that you just released. In fact, it's fresh on the plate. A few minutes ago, we got it here on Ghana Tonight. The details of the poll point to a particular direction. I'm going to hold you on a bit because we're getting to what the Constitution says, and we'll tie it into the details of the polls. If you can stay on a bit for me. Dennis, what does Article 146 say specifically in relation to the minorities' concerns that they raised in that press conference?
Well, so Article 146(10) makes reference to it's part of the processes that are used in the removal of a Chief Justice. But what is interesting about Article 146(10) is the fact that this is the provision that allows the President to take certain actions in the interim. By so doing, the President has the power, and he has to do so in accordance with the Council of State and by a warrant to suspend a Chief Justice who is going through this particular process. So if you understand the context of Article 146(10) and the powers that the President have and the actions that he can take in the interim, you can understand and appreciate why the minority is concerned about this particular provision. But it's instructive to know that before Article 146(10) can be triggered, certain things would have to be done, or certain things would have to be in place first. And as we speak, I mean, there's no information in the public to the effect that we have got to that stage yet.
Right.
And just for purposes of clarity,
well, the minority probably knows something you and I don't know.
Let's look at what exactly 146(10) says. that where a petition has been referred to a committee under this article, the president may, A, in the case of the Chief Justice, and this is what we're dealing with, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State by a warrant signed by him, that's the president, suspend the Chief Justice.
Right.
So this is a provision that allows for the suspension of the Chief Justice who is going through this particular process.
So while the process is ongoing...
Now let's establish a few things. It talks about where the petition has been referred to the committee.
Right.
The last public communication we have in respect of this matter was to the effect that the opportunity that the president had given to the Chief Justice to make her input to form parts of the consultation process with the Council of State for the determination or otherwise of a prima facie case was what the Chief Justice has responded to.
Yes.
We are not told whether or not a case has been made out of that consultation.
That's a prima facie case has been made.
It is only after a prima facie case has been made that they move to the next stage of setting up a committee, and then the petition will be referred to that committee. So when you look at the composition of 14610, it says that there has to be a petition which has been referred to the committee. Question, do we even know who the members of the committee are?
And whether a prima facie case has been
made? So if we get to a point where we cross that point of a prima facie case being made, the committee being set up, and then the petition being referred to that committee to begin to inquire into it, then the whole of 10A can begin to come into the picture.
As in the suspension
process can happen.
I see.
But like I did indicate, mind you, all these processes by law are supposed to be in camera. So there are times that some things may be done without necessarily being in the media. But of course, like I said, the public information we have is what we have always put out there. Sometimes we get it from the presidency, sometimes we go to the courts and we're able to get same. But as it stands now, we are not here yet, at least.
Based on the public communication
that we have.
But then, if you consider what the minority is saying, and I was saying earlier, maybe the minority knows something that you and I don't know, because they make reference to details of certain allegations against the Chief Justice, referencing some cases as well. You heard John Darko.
Yes, but...
And as to whether that's the details of the three petitions as well, you and I cannot state.
No, because that is not out in the public, like we indicate. But what is instructive is that even though we may not be able to tell at what stage this is, but when it gets to a point where a Chief Justice is suspended, that cannot be hidden from the public.
We have to know the reason for...
Yes, that will be made public.
Okay.
If we get to that point. But what is instructive is that before we get there, certain things would have to be done, like I explained earlier.
As in, one, the establishment of a prima facie case.
But what we do know for a fact is that the consultation process is ongoing between the President and the Council of State, and part of that is the determination of a prima facie case.
And we don't know whether that has been done.
We still don't know, as a matter of public information, whether that has been done.
So
that's after that, the formation of the committee.
Yes, before the suspension.
Before the suspension, if any.
If any.
Yes.
If any, really. And that is also, direct reference to the minorities' concerns and fears. Because you hear Alexander Panoma can make that particular point, and then also John Darko as well, talking about what they know. Okay, but there's a poll, Dennis. I know you have the details of that particular poll. We got fresh on the plate from the Global Info Analytics a few minutes ago, giving details of what the public thinks about the petitions against the Chief Justice for her removal. Mr. Dankwa, tell us exactly the methodology you used for this poll. How many people did you sample in this poll?
Good evening, Alfred, for having me. This is a telephone interview that was conducted between 7th April and today, in fact. We interviewed 2,545 voters from all the 16 regions randomly.
2,545?
Yes.
In a telephone poll. And yes. What was the question to them?
We asked them if they support the move to remove the Chief Justice from office. And the answers were strongly support, somehow support, strongly opposed, somehow opposed, neutral, and I don't have an opinion.
I see. And what was the outcome?
The outcome is that 52% of Ghanaian voters support the removal of the Chief Justice, and only 20% oppose it. 10% do not have an opinion, and around 18% were neutral.
So that's what we have on the screen there. You said 52% of the 2,545 of this telephone poll respondents support the removal of the Chief Justice. 18% say, well, they don't have a position on it. 20% oppose, and 10% also are in there as well. But is this a nationally representative poll, the 2,545? Is it across all 16 regions?
Yes, across all the 16 regions.
And in all 276 constituencies?
No, this is a national base, so randomly called numbers from the regions. So samples were assigned to each region, and each region's quota were assigned from all the constituencies. So randomly, whatever number that we are able to get from regional quota, we did that.
I see right. I see the regional breakdown that you gave in the poll as well. Western North region appears to be having the highest in terms of the regional breakdown. 82% of the respondents there. Any reason why?
No, we don't know. These are just random polls. If you look at those regions that are supporting her removal very strongly, you have Western North 82%, Volta region 76%, Savannah 66%, OT 70%, Greater Accra 58%, Central region 51%, Bono is 72%, Bono 82%. So these are the regions with over 50% support for her removal.
I see, and that straight question to them, whether they want her removed or not, is what you posed to them. There were no follow-up questions as with the responses they gave?
No, there was another question which we haven't published full detail yet. We asked them if she is found to have broken the law. For those who said they oppose and neutral or they have no opinion, we asked them a further question, whether if she is found to have broken the law, would they support her removal? That detail will be released tomorrow, God willing. But it is also, we're fairly divided for those who didn't support the initial process.
I see. But I see another bar graph that represents their party affiliation. So that's a question you ask them as well, as whether they belong to MPP or NDC.
At the end of the survey, we asked them which party they normally vote for. And the response shows that for those who say they are NPP, 16% support the removal, 46% oppose it. For those who say they are NDC, 83% support her removal, but 3% oppose it. And for those who are floating voters, 46% support and 13% oppose. And those who support other smaller parties, 37% support and 9% oppose. And for those who don't disclose their party affiliation, 34% support and 18% oppose.
Okay, so just for the benefit of our viewers, the color code we use to represent these bars, the red bars you see there represents those who are in support.
Who are opposed, red opposed. In your own chart, sorry,
yes, I'm explaining what we did out of your poll.
Okay.
Right, because we had to, as it were, make your poll graphically representative for our screen. Okay, so it's essentially your detail, but then again, we're redesigning it just for the readership and then also the visibility for our viewers. So what you see there, the red bar represents those who are in support of the question that you asked, whether they support the attempt to remove the Chief Justice. On the part of the MPP supporters or the persons whom you sampled who say they normally vote for the MPP, 16% of them say they support it. And did you follow up to ask them why? Or it was just...
No. This is a close-ended question.
Okay. I see. And 46% oppose. But in the case of the NDC, 83% of the respondents say they support her removal. And did that also cut across some of the regions we know are the stronghold for the NDC?
I mean, yes, it does. If you look at the regions, Western North is 82%, Volta 76%, Greater Accra 58%, Oti 70%, Savannah 66%. Now, interestingly, even in the Ashanti region, 37% support, 32% oppose. So majority of by almost 5%. So there are more people in Ashanti region who want to remove as a Chief Justice.
I see. Because then Western North against the Volta region, which is described as the World Bank for the NDC, comes in second. And you say that these samples were evenly distributed?
No, they were distributed based on the voter population of each region.
Okay. So, but obviously there are more voters in the Volta region than the Western North region.
Yes.
So why is it the case that we had the Western North region respondents being the highest in those saying they support?
No, it means that there are a higher proportion of people in the Western North who went to remove than in the Volta region.
In the Volta region. I see. Which is the World Bank of the NDC.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. But, but then again, that leads us to the next conversation also about the position that, for instance, the minority takes. There are others who also hold the view that maybe this poll was premature because the process is ongoing and it hasn't really progressed as yet because of, for instance, the case in court, and the only communication we have is the Chief Justice responding to the petitions. We don't know what the details of the petitions are as yet. Would you agree with those who say that this was premature?
I disagree, because by law or by the Constitution, the process has started, hasn't it? So we ask the voters whether they support the process and the move to remove her. This does not or should not impact on the judicial process. This is a public opinion. And indeed, if you look at the work we did previously on the IGP, unfortunately, you know, the question came after he has been dismissed. And we didn't want to be found in the same situation as the IGP. So we wanted to see the public opinion, whether in favor or not. And that is without prejudice to the legal process that has been undertaken. This is a public opinion, and it's a public opinion, and it will remain so.
Well, Mr. Nanko, I appreciate you for this. And kindly stay with me, because the next issue we're going to talk about in a bit, you've also done a polling there already regarding the MPP's reorganization. But Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner joining us on the telephone. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Do you listen to the minorities press conference? They raised concerns about this entire process and even gives details of some of the allegations against the Chief Justice, which they say are frivolous. And then Alexander Apenyomakin as well making that appeal to the justices at the Supreme Court. Now, why do you have the view that the channel that the minority and indeed Apenyomakin took in putting out their concerns about this entire process really is not right? Why is that?
That's all I can say. Okay, so my viewpoint is that the minority, instead of coming out publicly to describe the petitions as frivolous and to make other unsavory allegations, should have sought a back channel form of communication with the president. As to say, it shouldn't be public, where they would seek to show him why the petitions are frivolous. That would have been better. But you see, this current situation in which they've publicly denounced the petitions and said so many unsavory things, including saying that the new Chief Justice, if appointed, the person they think will be appointed is a sympathizer of the NDC and all that. They've shot themselves in the foot because of several reasons. One, just as President Akuffo published his ruling on the prima facie case when Professor Kweku Asare petitioned against the removal of the Chief Justice, President Mahama is going to publish that prima facie ruling as well. So it means that Ghanaians are going to get an opportunity to read the prima facie ruling. So if you say that it is frivolous, when you know that Ghanaians are also going to get a chance to read this thing and make their own judgment, you would you find that this is it's not on, because what you do is that you risk damaging your reputation. It's a huge risk they are taking. It's a huge risk. It's unnecessary. You see, it's not every situation that politicians should seek to, you know, use to their advantage. No, because sometimes you try to ride every case and then you find out that the horse is unruly. You can't ride it, rather the horse will kick you. So this is one case I think that the risk they are running is way too high than the benefit that they would get. You see it? Yes. So that's the main point, that the risk is too high because we are all going to.
Okay, abusua we ne ensema ekoso ewo political highway so Chief Justice Torkornoo ene chese ya capture na or pake nneoma efri ne fie ene ne officer enye asem keto akra ya bra masese mo jepene kokoti za audio edimai aha POG Media. So any update concerning Chief Justice removal no yenso yere bebremo bra masese